Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy. Each episode features an artist sharing their creative journey, their origins, what inspires them, their process, and offering up a little inspiration, motivation, and advice to help you on your creative journey. Whether you're doing it for fun or looking to make a living, this show will help you on your journey and let the world know your art matters. Hey, welcome back to The Artist Matters. I'm your host, Alex Rudy. And welcome to my month, July. That's right, I own the whole month because guess what? Yesterday was my birthday. Yay, happy birthday to me. I turned an age. That starts with a 5 and ends with a 0. Yeah. Hey, I'm thankful I have a birthday. It's, of course, I wish I was in a different place creatively at this age, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I made it 50 years on this planet. I learned a few things, haven't learned a few things. I made mistakes. I'm here, though, and I have a podcast, which is something. I'm grateful I'm having the show still going on and bringing you all kinds of artists. Well, let's get into it. I mean, my birthday was by myself, but it's okay. This is the quarantine, right? Got to deal with it. And that brings me to today's guest. Another referral from the one and only Laurie Ann Davis. Should make her my publicist, right? She's awesome. And she connected me with an actor, dinner theater performer, director, writer, comic, and so much more. The one and the only Tony Walker. Now, Tony hails from Long Island, and he fell in love with acting in high school. In his senior year, he did the plays Brighton Beach Memoirs and Anything Goes, and he was hooked. After a few years of trying to find his way, he eventually ended up auditioning for dinner theater. Said, let me try that out. Sounds familiar, right? I know, I went that route. And he decided to try it out, and he was hooked. He loved the interacting with the audience and just the energy and the fun times, and he wanted to do this as much as he could. And he started off with a group called Murder for You, playing throughout Long Island, New York, and the tri-state area and beyond. And then they eventually split up, and he decided to start his own group with another talented person. And that became eventually Knock 'em Dead Comedy. This time he was deciding to write shows and direct shows as well as act in them. And it expanded from there. It was a rough start with anything. And it eventually was moving, and at their height they were doing 80 shows a year. But back in 2002, when he was starting this dinner theater group, he was diagnosed with a bone cancer in his leg. So he had to undergo several treatments and chemotherapy, and eventually had to lose the leg. They tried, but eventually it just wasn't enough, and things just weren't working out, so he just had it amputated and ended up wearing a prosthetic. But he made it through it. And his dinner theater was a creative way of helping him in the healing process. His art helped him so much because there was a lot of laughter and positivity, and he may not have healed the way he wanted to, or it could have gone a lot worse if he didn't have that creative outlet to help him through it, as well as, of course, the medical procedures and therapies. In 2018, he decided to try the medium of radio and has done several shows under the Knock 'em Dead radio show through Governor's Comedy Club in Long Island and their radio station, which you can stream. He co-hosts the show now with his girlfriend. And he's interviewed several people, comedians like Joey Cola and Liberty DeVito, who used to be the drummer in Billy Joel's band. And he's the program director now. And speaking of the comedy club circuit, he decided to try some stand-up and did so at the Brokerage on Long Island. And it happened just as the coronavirus was shutting things down. So he was the last person to perform at the club at the time. But he's a very talented guy. He is a born performer. As you will soon hear, this man knew it, that this was in his blood, and he took time away from it, but it was calling back to him. It's kind of a theme here. Don't turn your back on your art. Never do it. If you feel it in your bones and your soul, and you know that you have to do something creative, whether it is acting, writing, painting, directing, singing, you got to answer the call. As he did. So, he's got a lot to tell you. Let's get into this right now and enjoy my chat with Tony Walker. All right.
Okay.
Welcome to the show. Tony Walker. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. It's great to have you on here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to hear your story. So let's begin at the beginning.
All right.
Did you always have this creative side to you? And was it always acting, performing?
My creative side actually started when I was a kid. I was into cartooning actually as a kid, and that was the dream. That was the dream as a kid. I'm going to be a cartoonist. I'm going to draw this and draw that. And then it wasn't until senior year of high school. I'd done some plays in high school, just bit background type stuff. But in senior year, you're the senior, so I think the unofficial rule of thumb in high school is whether you're good or bad, you're a senior, so you're getting all the good parts. So, but I got some nice parts, and that's when I noticed the attention that the girls paid attention to the guys with the lead roles. And in high school, most guys are playing sports. I was in the plays, so there were a lot more girls than guys. So that was a good thing. And so my focus changed from cartooning to acting. But that was the original motivation. But I eventually just fell in love with it. Live, and really from that moment on, just live theater, any type of live entertainment, I just can't get enough of. And from a performance standpoint, theater, jumping around on a stage is number one for me. And never looked back. I did try going back a little bit, with the cartooning here and there, but nothing compares to the whole camaraderie of working on a play with people. And I'm a big team person. I don't like so much to do a lot. Like, I'm starting to dabble in stand-up a little bit, but I'd much prefer being in a show with a group of people and you're bouncing off each other and ideas are coming out and you're getting that laughter and that energy from an audience. So I graduated high school in 1988. So basically, for the past 30-odd years, it's my creative side is all fueled by live performance.
I'm class of 88, too. Hey.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that's funny.
Brentwood High School.
Brentwood. Yeah. You know the name Sill? You know Don Sill?
Don Sill. That sounds moderately familiar.
Yeah, he graduated. I think he's a year behind us, but he graduated Brentwood, and he's like a brother to me, actually. Yeah.
Wow. Small.
Look him up.
Have to do that. Okay, so high school, you get the role. What do you know? What play it is? Do you remember what play it was?
Oh boy, Brighton Beach Memoirs. I played the father.
Nice.
The musical we did that year was Anything Goes, where I got to play the part. Moonface Martin was the name of the part. He wasn't the lead, but he was the support. He was a supporting role, and I had it. That was the play. That was the show. I'm not a singer, but I had to sing one song, but I got to do it bad on purpose. And I just felt that show in particular is what put it over the edge for me. And so this is it. I have to do this. So, and then we did some Chekhov pieces and some other small things here and there. But Brighton Beach Memoirs and Anything Goes are the two big ones for me.
Okay, so you've done these plays. Now you're saying to myself, all right, am I going to pursue this as a full-time career? Is this really possible? Can I do it? And so what do you decide at this point?
It's funny. You talk about the creative side. I definitely got a bigger appreciation of the creative side because I after high school, I looked into going to art schools and drama schools, but due to financial reasons at home, I dropped it all and went to work. Took a year off from any education, which was a mistake, and I don't advise that to anybody. But so when I was ready to go back, I was already I was a kid. I was 18, 19, making some money at a full-time job and enjoying it, but I wasn't thinking of when you're young like that, you're not thinking of your future. You're not thinking that far ahead. You just I was just enjoying making money. I bought a car and I was going out with friends and doing things. Had fun, but a few years later, I came to regret it because I started going to school part-time and at night, and that's when the adults are going to school, and I wasn't around people my own age. I wasn't around creative people, and I actually flunked out. I took an art school. I was an art major at a technical school. Basically, it wasn't an art school, and the art teacher came up to me. One of my art teachers came up to me. I was having a hard time, and he pulled me aside, and he said, you can really draw well. He said, but there are a lot of artists that can't draw. But there are a lot of artists that can draw, but a lot of people who can draw who aren't artists. And I took that message loud and clear. So I gave up, and I just felt like I was stuck for a while. I just figured, all right, well, this is my life, and I'm just going to work. But I didn't enjoy it. I was miserable working, these regular jobs. I mean, and nothing against that. Lots of people work, because they have responsibilities. They need to support their families. But I still really just felt empty inside.
Yeah, it wasn't you. It wasn't you.
It wasn't me at all. Yeah. It wasn't me at all. So I had stopped acting. I wasn't doing anything. For I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years.
Wow, that long. Wow. Yeah,
and I was just not happy, and it really got the best of me after a while. It really hit me, and that's how I got into dinner theater. You and I were talking about dinner theater before. That's how I got into it. I just had to get back into it. I had to find something, I just had to do something performance-wise. Got into a dinner theater company, and again, just fell in love with it all over again.
Was it like an audition in a backstage, or how did you find that?
Back then, so this is early, mid-'90s. So back then it was still newspapers and ads. And Newsday, the local paper here, I don't know if they still do it, but back then, every Saturday, they would have a little casting calls, they called it, where you just look up local theaters that were auditioning for different things. Never done any dinner theater before, but I saw an ad for one, and I said, that seems interesting. Let me try that.
Plus it pays.
Yes, it does pay. That's just always a bonus. But yeah, so I tried out and got a role immediately, and it was a repertoire company, so I got to I stayed with them for a few years, and again, just fell in love with performing all over again.
Was it Murder for You? Was that the name of the company?
Murder for You was the name of the troupe. There is a group called Murders for You now. They're out there, but they're not the same Murders for You that I joined. It was a different company.
And were they based on Long Island?
Long Island-based company, and they were at the time they had two shows every Friday and Saturday. They had 2 shows a night. They were so busy that they had to have 2 different casts. So there'd be one group doing a show somewhere while another group was doing a show somewhere else, and it was all Long Island based. Maybe a little